Earth Machine is a combo control deck that focuses on outgrounding your opponent. The deck consists of 3 engines, the Machinas, the Infinitracks and Trains, plus 2 ancient gear cards if you want to count that as well. It is a going first deck, but its first turn board is not particularly impressive, except if your hand is really good and you can make number 81 or enter Bladnir. You mostly use the first turn for setting up your graveyard in hand and trying to survive until your next turn when you can pop off. This is the deck's biggest weakness because if they kill you before turn 3 the deck doesn't do that much, but if you survive until turn 3 the deck starts to snowball and it becomes extremely hard to stop. So the deck plays 3 types of cards. First, the cards that help you get to your first turn setup. Second, the cards that help you survive until turn 3, mostly by turboing out number 81. And last but not least, you're going second cards and hand traps. Over the past few months, I've been messing around with this deck a lot, and I've just absolutely fallen in love with it. It is quite hard to play, but it's extremely rewarding if you play it well. It's one of those decks that are really easy to learn on a basic level, but are very hard to master. I myself am also still learning, but I will do my best to help you understand the deck as best as I can. First, I will show you my favorite version of the deck, and at the end of the deck profile, I will show you what cards to replace if you want to play a more traditional version of this deck. Then I will show you my side deck and what cards to side against certain decks, and most importantly I will show you which cards you can and cannot side out. Then I will show you some combos that you can do with this deck, and at the very end I will show you some interesting rulings and interactions that you have to know if you want to play this deck on a competitive level. For all of these portions of this video I will also put timestamps into the description if you want to skip around. I probably put a lot of work into this video, right future me?
That's right.
So subscribe to the channel if you want to see more amazing content like this, leave a like and let me know down in the comments if you guys have any criticisms of the video, because I want to keep improving the quality with every new video I upload. Hope you enjoy, and let's get started with the... Welcome to the deck profile portion of this video. First I will show you this version of the deck, which is my favorite. I like to play a very big train engine. If you don't like that, I will show you what cards you can replace it with, and let's get started. To start off, I play triple Machina Metalcruncher. If you control no cards, you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its attack becomes 1800, and when this card is summoned, you can reveal 3 Earth Machine monsters in your deck, and then your opponent randomly adds 1 to your hand. What's really good about Metalcruncher is that it can reveal 3 copies of the same card, so that way you can guarantee to get the card you want. Some people decide to play 2 of this, I don't really understand why. You want to see at least 1 starter every single hand, and even if you draw multiples of this, you can use it to summon back Machina Fortress, or just use it as discard fodder, so that's why I would never play less than 3 of this. You really want to see as many starters as possible. For the rest of the Machina monsters, I play 1 Fortress and 1 Citadel. Every single monster to play 1 of in the deck is extremely important, but you can't really play more because there's no space and they're all easily accessible. Machina Fortress is extremely important for the rank 9 combo that I'm going to show you later. None of its effects are once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by discarding machine monsters from your hand whose total levels equal or exceed 8. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can destroy a card your opponent controls. So sometimes you can just crash this card into something and maybe destroy a floodgate. And it also has the third effect: if this card is targeted by your opponent's monster effect, you can look at their hand and discard 1 card. And then Machina Ruin Force has 2 really annoying effects. Once per turn, if one of your machine monsters is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. And once per turn, you can destroy a machine monster you control and destroy all monsters your opponent controls with less attack. So most of the time you can just destroy this and destroy all monsters they control with 3000 or less attack, which most of the time that's going to be all their monsters. This card is one of your main interruptions. You always want to set this up so you have a Raigeki on the opponent's turn. This card is also level 10, which is really important because that helps you make your rank 10 monsters. If you find space, I would recommend maybe playing 2 Machina Fortress, but I just couldn't find space because I play a heavy train engine. That's it for the Machina monsters. For the Infinitracks, I play triple Harvester. This card is basically a Stratos for Infinitrack monsters, and it also has a really important second effect. Once per turn, you can target another machine monster you control, and the levels of this card and that monster become their combined levels. So for example, if you target Machina Fortress, their levels are 2 and 7. So if you add those together, that's 9. So both of them then become level 9. And if you target a level 10 monster with this, both of them become level 12. And then you can actually hard make Zeus, which most people don't expect. Next, I play triple Brutal Dozer. All of the level 5 Infinitrack monsters can special summon themselves by tributing an Earth Machine monster. And when Brutal Dozer is special summoned from the hand, you can special summon an Infinitrack monster from the deck. So this is one of your main combo pieces. You want to see this every single hand, or at least want to see some way to search this, because this then gives you access to your River Stormer. The downside is that when you use the effect to special summon from the deck, you are locked into Earth Machine monsters for the rest of the turn. That usually doesn't matter that much, unless you want to make Dingirsu, enter Bladnir or Zeus, but you can quite easily get around this restriction because you can just make them first before using this card. For the engine requirements, I play double Trencher, 1 Tunneller, and 1 Anchor Drill. All of these cards are extremely important for your combos. Both Trencher and Tunneller have the effect where you can special summon them from the hand by tributing an Earth Machine monster, and these 2 are usually the main targets to summon off Brutal Dozer. Dozer. Once per turn you can banish Trencher from the graveyard to special summon an Infinitrack monster from the graveyard. In your first turn combo this helps you get another body on the field. This card is also really good on turn 3 because you can revive your Harvester and continue searching. Tunneller is also one of the best cards in the deck. Once per turn you can banish it from the graveyard and target 5 Earth Machine monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them all back into the deck and draw 2 cards. This is basically a pot of average that you can use every single turn because it's so easy to recycle. And when Anchor Drill is normal summoned, you can special summon an Earth Machine monster from the hand. And it also has the same second effect as Harvester, where you can target another machine monster you control and combine their levels. That effect is really good to use on your level 5 monsters to make them level 9, or use it on your Ancient Gear box and make them both level 8 to make them Gearsu. Next I play one Ancient Gear box. When this card is added from the deck or graveyard to your hand, you can add an Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand with 500 attack or defense. In your first turn combo, this card is mainly used to search your Tunneller. You can use this card on your turn and on your opponent's turn by adding it back with Bullet Train. So on the end of the opponent's turn, you add this back and then you search Anchor Drill for next turn. And then next turn you can normal summon the Anchor Drill, special summon this, and then make the Gearsu with these two. And then you can usually send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard if you want to go for OTK. Or if you don't have the trap, you can attach your Tunneller to the Gearsu to get it back to your graveyard that way. That's it for the Infinitrack engine. Next for the train monsters, I played triple Derricrane and one Express Bullet Train. When you normal or special summon an Earth Machine monster, you can special summon Derricrane from your hand by halving its attack and defense. That's really important for chain blocking. So for example, if you're afraid they're going to Ash or normal summon or Brutal Dozer, you can chain block it with this. This card also has a really nice second effect, where if it's detached from an Xyz monster as material, you can destroy a card on the field. This card basically turns your number 81 into an interruption. And then Express Bullet Train, you can special summon it from the hand if you only control Earth Machine monsters. And during the end phase, if this card was sent to the graveyard this turn, you can add an Earth Machine monster back from your graveyard to your hand. That's why Bullet Train is so important. It can give you so much advantage because at the end of your turn, you add back one of your combo pieces, for example a Brutal Dozer, and then on the opponent's end phase, you usually add back the box, and then the box can add you something else. And both of these cards also help you make Dora. And the main goal of the deck is to survive until turn 3, and then the deck becomes almost impossible to stop. So we want to play as many ways to get to your number 81 as possible, because most decks have a really hard time outing an unaffected 4000 defense monster, and number 81 is your best way to survive. So this is where my deck differs a little bit from the more traditional Earth Machine builds. I play one copy of Flying Pegasus. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon an Earth Machine monster from the graveyard, and then it has a very similar effect to Harvester and Anchor Drill, but it works a little bit differently. You can target another Earth Machine monster you control, and then choose either this card's level or that monster's level, and then both of these monsters become that level. So for example, if you normal summon this, special summon let's say a level 10 from the graveyard, you can then activate this, target your level 10, and then you can choose to make them both level 4 or make them both level 10. That's it for the monsters. And for the spells, I played triple Machina Redeployment and also triple Heavy Forward. These cards are here for consistency. With Machina Redeployment, you can discard one card and search 2 Machina monsters from the deck, or you can discard a Machina card and search 2 Machina cards from your deck. So that's really good because then you can search the trap and get access to your Machina Citadel. And then Heavy Forward is basically a tanky. When this card is activated, you can add an Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can also attach this card to a Machine Xyz monster you control, or you can change the battle position of one of your Machine Xyz monsters. That's very nice because all of the Infinitrack Xyz monsters special summon themselves back from the graveyard in defense position. So if you want to get more damage, you can just put it in attack with this. And this card is also really good to attach to Zeus. Then I played double Urgent Schedule. This is the card I go most back and forth on. I used to play 1, I used to play 3, now I play 2. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon one level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from the deck and one level 4 or lower in defense position, and their effects are negated. This basically gives you the entire combo because you can special summon Harvester and Trencher. This card is absolutely incredible going second, and the turn you activate this card, you can only attack with machine monsters, which doesn't matter because literally your entire deck and extra deck are all machine monsters. This card also has a really nice effect where if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can search a level 10 Earth Machine monster from the deck. I also play double Revolving Switchyard and one Terraforming. Again, I want to play as many ways to get into number 81 as possible because I think that is the single best way to survive turn 2. This card has 2 effects, you can only use one of them per turn. Once per turn you can discard a card and add a level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. This effect is useful when they stop your River Stormer and you need access to your Bullet Train. But the most important effect on this card is when you special summon a level 10 Earth Machine monster, you can special summon a level 4 Earth Machine monster from your deck with 1800 or more attack and it becomes a level 10. Its effect doesn't get negated, so you can special summon Pegasus or Anchor Drill. Most of the time it's the Pegasus, but sometimes you need to get the box out of your hand, for example, and you special summon the Anchor Drill. So then this card can activate and revive another monster, and then you can use this, make them both level 10, and that gives you easy access to Dora. And also when you use your Anger Knuckle on the opponent's turn to special summon back the Bullet Train, this card triggers again, and and then you can special summon a level 4 from the deck again. I would highly recommend playing this engine, but if you don't want to, I'm going to show you at the end of the deck profile what cards you can replace it with. And the last spell in the deck is one called by the Grave. This card is really good to protect you from hand traps. Then for the traps, I play triple Machina Overdrive. Once per turn you can destroy a machine monster you control and special summon the Machina monster from the deck. This is the main way to get to your Machina Citadel, but even if you already have the Citadel in the graveyard, you can use this, special summon either a Metalcruncher or a Fortress from the deck, and then Citadel in the graveyard is going to trigger to special summon itself. And it also has a really important second effect. You can banish this from the graveyard and shuffle back 3 of your banished or in the graveyard machine monsters back into the deck and draw a card. At the start of turn 3, you're going to have these 2 cards banished almost every single time. So if you have this in the graveyard, it's really useful to recycle these 2 back into the deck. You can maybe cut one Overdrive if you want to play more hand traps or going second cards, but I like triple Overdrive to make the grind game of this deck even better. Next I play one E.M.R. This is a bit of a weird choice, but I like this card a lot. You can tribute a machine monster you control and then destroy a card on the field for every 1000 attack that monster had. This card can also trigger Citadel in the graveyard. The main reason I play this is to have a main deck out to Mystic Mine, because this deck literally has no other way to out it. And not just Mystic Mine, it's also really good for outing random floodgates. And the last card in the deck is triple Infinite Impermanence. This is one of the best hand traps in the format. It gets around triple tactic talents. If I know they are only going to make 1 to 2 interruptions, I like to keep this card in my hand. And then on your turn you can activate this to bait out an interruption. This card is also very nice to draw going first off your Tunneler, just to get more interruption. And this card also has a really nice interaction with Anger Knuckle. If you only do your basic combo, you're going to end on Anger Knuckle. And let's say you draw this off your Tunneler, and you also have a Bullet Train in the graveyard. So what you can do is you can actually keep this card in the hand, and then when the opponent tries to use an effect you want to stop, you can activate Anger Knuckle, tribute itself for cost, target the Bullet Train in the graveyard to special summon it, and then you can chain your Infinite Impermanence since you have no monsters on the field, negate their thing, and then special summon back Bullet Train. That's it for the main deck. This deck has 12 starters, so you have a very high chance to draw at least one of them going first, and if you draw any one of these you have the entire combo, and going second you have 14 starters instead of 12. If you don't like the heavier train engine, you can cut these 4 cards and maybe even some of these, and then you can replace them with more going second cards like Forbidden Chalice or more hand traps like Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler. You can also play Forbidden Droplet, but I don't have it. For the extra deck, I play one River Stormer. You go into this every single turn. Once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from this card and either search or send to the graveyard to nerf machine monster. So this is mostly for searching your Bullet Train, but if you already have it you can search a Derricrane to make Dora or send a Citadel to the graveyard. And once per turn, if this card is in the graveyard, you can tribute a machine link monster you control and special summon this card from the graveyard in defense position. That's very useful for tributing the Infinitrack link, because it can then attach itself to this card as material, and you basically have a search every single turn if you keep this in the graveyard. Then I play one Gear Gigant X. This card comes up sometimes, especially if you open the field spell. If you decide not to play the heavier train engine with the field spell and the Pegasus, I would recommend also cutting this, because then it doesn't come up ever. Once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from this card and then search or add from the graveyard a level 4 or lower Earth machine monster. So this card is mainly used for searching Harvester for your follow-up or adding back box from the graveyard. Then for the rank 8 I play one Dingirsu. This card is very good going second or on turn 3. You make this with Anchor Drill and box most of the time. It's really good because it can non-targeting send cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. It can attach your banished machine monsters to it as material, so it's also really good for recycling your resources. And if that wasn't enough, it also protects your board by detaching Xyz materials. This card is also the main way to make a 4 material Zeus, because when you make it with these 2, you can attach your banished Tunneler, for example, and then attack with this, and in main phase 2 you can put a Zeus on top, and that's 4 materials right there. For the rank 9s I play one Earth Slicer and one Enter Bladnir. Unfortunately, Enter Bladnir is a wind, so be careful to always make it before using your Brutal Dozer. Once per turn, by detaching an Xyz material, you can banish a card from your opponent's hand, deck, field or graveyard. So if you make this going first, it's a 1 card hand loop. Earth Slicer can once per turn detach as many materials as you want and then destroy that many cards on the field. This card is a giant blowout going second, because you can usually pop 2 to 3 cards. If you have a Citadel in the graveyard, it's also really good to sometimes pop one of your own machine monsters, and then you can trigger Citadel that way. It also has the exact same effect as River Stormer, where you can tribute a link monster to special summon this card back in defense position. And something I forgot to mention with River Stormer as well, both of these have the effect where if they destroy a monster by battle, you can attach it to them as material. So these guys can also be used to make a 4 material Zeus. For the rank 10s, I play one Dora. This card is really important in the deck, especially in my version. Once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from this card and make a monster on the field unaffected until the end of that turn, so you can make itself unaffected, and that's a 4000 defense body that is unaffected by card effects, which is almost impossible to get through for most decks. For the OTK package I play one Gustav Max and one Liebe. Gustav Max burns for 2000 damage by detaching an Xyz material, and Liebe is is very easy to summon because you can just overlay it on top of one of your rank 10s. This card can detach an Xyz material to gain 2000 attack and defense, so then it becomes 6000, and it can attack monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Xyz materials it has plus 1. So for example, if this has 1 material, it can attack 2 monsters they control. And the last Xyz monster I play in the deck is one Zeus. Thankfully this card is pretty budget now, it's around 15 euros. I think this card is pretty much necessary in the deck. For the link monsters I play triple Goliath. It's really important to play 3 of because you can fill your graveyard very easily with them to have enough monsters to shuffle back with your Tunneller. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can attach it to one of your Xyz machine monsters as material, and that monster can be destroyed by card effects. This is really good for making your Dora or Zeus indestructible, and it's also very good with Earth Slicer and River Stormer because you can attach it to them as material when you tribute it, and then you can use their effects every single turn. Then I play one Ancient Gear Ballista. When it's summoned, it searches box, which then searches you another combo piece. It also has a second effect, which comes up sometimes, where you can send one spell or trap you control to the graveyard and make one of their monsters 0 attack. That's quite useful because sometimes you have a sitting heavy forward on the field, and it can help you OTK with that. And the last card in the extra deck is double Anger Knuckle. This is the card you always want to end on. It has a quick effect where you can send the monster from your field or hand to the graveyard and special summon a level 10 Earth Machine monster from the graveyard. So this is your way to summon Bullet Train from the graveyard on the opponent's turn, and then if they kill it, you get a search in the end phase. It also has a really nice second effect where if you have this in the graveyard, you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard and special summon this card back, but you can only use one of these effects per turn. So that's why I think it's really important to play 2 of them, because on the third turn, if they kill it and you want to special summon an Earth Machine monster from the graveyard, you need to summon the second one, because if you revive the first one with its effect, you can't use the second effect, and the second one also helps the grind game a lot. That is it for the extra deck. If you don't want to play the Train Engine, cut this and play a Gaia Charger or a Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. I think both of them are also very good, but they are very situational, so that's also why I like to play the Train Engine instead. This is it for the deck profile segment of the video, and let's get into the... For the side deck, I play one Pancatrops. This card is really good for routing Floodgates and just a really nice going second card in general. Then I play triple Lancia. This card is extremely powerful against Sword Soul, Tri-Brigade, Invoked, and some other rogue decks. Next, triple Dark Ruler. This is the best card going second against combo decks. If you want to, you can also main this card if you don't play the Train Engine. Then I play the third Urgent Schedule for going second. I like this card a lot against slower decks that can kill you in one turn, because this gives you a lot of advantage. For the back row decks, I play triple Twin Twister, because this deck struggles a lot with back row removal, and it also doesn't struggle with card advantage, so the discard is basically free most of the time. All of these cards are for going second because this deck is already very good going first, but the only cards you cite going first are triple Anti-Spell and one Imperial Order. This is for Sky Striker and other spell focused decks, and you don't have to worry about these cards hurting you because you can get rid of them with your Anger Knuckle by sending them to the graveyard and special summoning this back. All of these cards here you should never ever side out because these are all of your important engine requirements, but I would also not recommend siding out this. And I also like to keep in the second Trencher all of the time. I also like the Derricranes in my deck all of the time. I almost never side out the Overdrive, and yeah, that's it. These are going to be the cards that you side out most of the time. I almost always side out the Train Engine going second for Dark Rulers or Hand Traps or more stuff like that. For going first against combo decks, I side out the Urgent Schedules. You can also side out Call by the Grave, I guess, if you see they don't have any hand traps. You can also side out E.M.R going second, and you can also side out Infinite Impermanence if you want to, if you need more space. That is it for the side decking portion of this video, and let's show you some. First, I will show you the most basic one card combo in this deck, which gives you your full first turn setup. So you need either a Harvester or a Metalcruncher. I will take a Metalcruncher for this case, but of course this combo also works with all of these cards. So first you normal summon your Metalcruncher, and then you reveal triple Brutal Dozer, so you're guaranteed to get it. Then you can activate Brutal Dozer, tribute the Metalcruncher to special summon itself, and then it can activate its effect to special summon a Trencher from the deck, and then you can overlay these two to make a River Stormer. Then you can activate River Stormer's effect and get a Bullet Train. Then you can activate Bullet Train in the hand, because you only control Earth Machine monsters, you can special summon it. Then you link River Stormer into a Goliath, activate River Stormer's effect to special summon itself back by tributing the Goliath. Then you link it again to make a second Goliath. The reason you do this is to fill your graveyard for your Tunneller that you're going to resolve at the end of the turn. So then you link these two to make an Ancient Gear Ballista. Then Ballista activates to search an Ancient Gear box, and box will then search you your Tunneller. Then you can activate Tunneller to tribute your Ballista and special summon itself, and then you can link it to the third Goliath, and now you can activate your Trencher to banish it and special summon back one of your Infinitrack monsters, and then link these two to make the Anger Knuckle. Then you can activate the Tunneller in the graveyard to banish itself, and then target all of the link monsters plus let's say a Metalcruncher, and then shuffle all of these back into the deck, and then draw 2 random cards. And the best cards to draw are traps, or either the field spell or the Derricrane. If you have the field spell or Derricrane, then you activate Anger Knuckle, discard the box, special summon back the bullet train, and then you can use one of those extenders to make Dora. But let's say you don't draw any of those extenders, then you just end your turn, and the bullet train is going to activate and return Brutal Dozer back to your hand. So off just 1 card, you have these 2 really important cards in the graveyard. You have an Anger Knuckle on the field, and you have 4 cards in the hand. You have a really nice follow-up, 2 random cards, plus a box, and then during the opponent's turn, first chance you get, you activate Anger Knuckle, discard the box, and special summon back the bullet train. And then they're most likely going to kill these 2. So you can then in the end phase activate the bullet train, add back the box, and then box will search you an anchor drill. And then you also get a draw for a turn. So you can kind of see how this deck can easily generate advantage. And then on the next turn you can make them Gersu with these 2, attach this, do all of it again. So this is kind of the setup you want to get to every single turn. Next is the rank 9 combo. This combo is a little bit more fragile to hand traps, but it's way more powerful than the normal combo, because you basically get the exact same setup, but you also banish a card from the opponent's hand. You only need Machina Redeployment for this combo, plus of course any random discard. So you activate this, discard your random card, and search a Fortress plus a Metalcruncher. Then you can normal summon the Metalcruncher and reveal 3 copies of Harvester. So then you're guaranteed to get Harvester to your hand. Then you can activate Machina Fortress, discard these 2. Special summon itself. That's also a really cool thing about Machina Fortress. It can discard itself, and then you link these 2 to make an Ancient Gear Ballista. Then you can activate Ballista to search you an Ancient Gear box, and then the box will search you a Trencher. Then you can send these 2 to the graveyard to special summon back Machina Fortress, and then you can banish the Trencher from the graveyard to special summon back the Harvester. Harvester activates to search you a Brutal Dozer. Then you use the Harvester's effect to make both of these level 9, and then you overlay these 2 to make a Enter Vladimir. Then you activate Enter Vladimir, and you have to detach the Machina Fortress, and then you can banish a random card from the opponent's hand. Next you activate Brutal Dozer, tribute the Ballista, special summon itself, and also bring out a Tunneller from the deck. Then you can overlay these 2 to make a River Stormer. Activate River Stormer's effect and search a Bullet Train. But now you can't special summon the Bullet Train because you don't control only Earth Machine monsters, because Enter Vladimir is a wind. So you have to use the Machina Fortress, special summon itself by sending the Bullet Train to the graveyard. And then you can link River Stormer into a Goliath, do the same thing as before, tribute the Goliath, special summon this back, link it into another Goliath. Right here you use Goliath and any one of these 2. It mostly depends on your hand, but right here I'm going to use the Enter Vladimir to make the Anger Knuckle. And now you can activate the Tunneller in the graveyard and put back the Enter Vladimir, Goliath, another Goliath, Ballista, and a Metalcruncher. You put all of these back into the deck and draw 2 random cards, and then in the end phase you can add back the Brutal Dozer or even the Harvester, whichever one you want. And then you have basically the same setup as before, plus a Machina Fortress, which is very annoying, and you have the same thing as before. You activate this, send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this back on the opponent's turn, and then if they kill it you can add back the box, and box searches you the Anchor Drill. Now let's do the very basic combo with just 1 Harvester, but let's say we drew the box, because if you draw the box you have to do the combo a little bit differently. So here you normal summon the Harvester and search a Brutal Dozer. Then you have to link the Harvester into a Goliath. Then you tribute the Goliath to special summon Brutal Dozer. And then Brutal Dozer brings out a Tunneller. And you overlay these 2 to make a River Stormer. Then you activate River Stormer and search a Bullet Train. Then you can special summon the Bullet Train, link River Stormer into a second Goliath. Then you actually can't use the effect to tribute the Goliath right here, because you need to save it for later. Next you link these 2 to make your Anger Knuckle. Then you have to use the effect of Anger Knuckle, discard the box, to special summon back your Bullet Train. And because Anger Knuckle can't be used as link material, you have to get rid of it. So you activate River Stormer to tribute it and special summon back the River Stormer. And now you can link the River Stormer into the third Goliath. And then you can banish your Tunneller, put back most importantly the box and 4 other cards. Let's say these 4. Put all of them back into the deck and draw 2 random cards. Then you use these 2 to make an Ancient Gear Ballista. And you can activate Ballista to search the box that you just put back. And then the box will search your Trencher. Then you can tribute the Ballista, summon the Trencher, link it off into your Goliath. Then you can banish the Trencher and special summon back the Brutal Dozer, and then link these two for your Anger Knuckle to basically get the exact same setup as the previous combos, and basically just pass on this. Then the Bullet Train is going to activate to get you back your Brutal Dozer. You can also do this exact same combo with Metalcruncher, but then you would have to put back the River Stormer because you can't make Goliath with this at the very beginning. The next combo I will show you is Harvester, or Metalcruncher works as well, plus Revolving Switchyard. This is one of the reasons why I love Revolving Switchyard so much in the deck. This is basically one of the best combos you can do. So you start the same as before, you normal summon the Harvester and search the Brutal Dozer. Then you tribute the Harvester to special summon Brutal Dozer and bring out a Trencher. And by the way, the reason why you don't link the Harvester into Goliath right here is because you can make River Stormer as your 4th summon. You can make a River Stormer right here, so they can't Nibiru you right now. So when you search the Bullet Train with River Stormer, you can special summon Bullet Train before you can Nibiru you. So you can at least have the Bullet Train in the graveyard to add back one of your starters to try again next turn. Next, what you do here is you activate the field spell, and then you can special summon Bullet Train from the hand. Switch your triggers to special summon the Pegasus from the deck. And then Pegasus triggers to special summon any of these two, let's say the Harvester, from the graveyard, and Pegasus becomes level 10. Next, what you can do here is you can activate Pegasus to make Harvester a level 10, and then you can use these two to make a Dora, which if they haven't hand trapped you by now, you can protect your cards with this, and then you can link River Stormer into Goliath, tribute the Goliath to special summon back the River Stormer and link it again into the second Goliath. Then you link these two to make a Ballista, and Ballista then searches you the box, and the box searches the Tunneler. Then you can tribute the Ballista, special summon the Tunneler, and then link the Tunneler into the last and final Goliath. Now you can activate Trencher, banish it from the graveyard, special summon back one of your Infinitrack monsters, link these two to make a Anger Knuckle, and now you can banish the Tunneler from the graveyard to put back all of these cards back into the deck, draw 2 random cards. Then you go into the end phase and activate Dora in the end phase to detach and make itself unaffected. You go into the end phase because now they can chain Nibiru to your Dora, and the Bullet Train activates to give you Brutal Dozer back to your hand. So now you have the exact same setup as before, except you have the field spell on the field and the Dora. You can activate Dora on the opponent's turn to make itself unaffected. This almost guarantees your survival. And also when you activate the Anger Knuckle on the opponent's turn, let's say discarding the box, to special summon back the Bullet Train, Switchyard is going to activate again on the opponent's turn. And because you put Pegasus back into the deck with your Tunneler, you can special summon back the Pegasus, and Pegasus can activate to revive, let's say, a box. So you build this nice wall right here, which is going to be very hard to OTK through, so you most likely survive until the next turn, and then you can just pop off. I would also like to mention that if you have the Derricrane in your hand with any of these combos, you can chain block your cards to protect them from hand traps, and you can also end on Dora plus your entire combo. And the last combo I want to show you is how to combo with Urgent Schedule. So this can be either only Urgent Schedule going second, or let's say we go first and we normal summon the Metalcruncher and we get Gamut right here. So this gets destroyed, they have the 2 monsters on the field, so then you can activate Urgent Schedule. Either way this works. So now you activate Urgent Schedule and bring out a Harvester and a Trencher, and then you can link them both into Goliaths. Now you banish the Trencher to special summon back the Harvester. Harvester then activates and searches you a Brutal Dozer. Now you can activate Brutal Dozer, tribute one of the links, special summon itself, and special summon a Tunneler from the deck. Then you can overlay these two to make a River Stormer, detach from River Stormer, and search a Bullet Train, special summon the Bullet Train. Then you can link the Harvester into a final Goliath, link these two to make a Ballista. Ballista can activate to search your box, and then with the box you can search the second Trencher or the Anchor Drill for next turn. I'm going to take Anchor Drill for this example, doesn't really matter. If you really want to, you can also activate Goliath to attach itself to River Stormer, but I wouldn't really recommend that because then you don't have enough cards in the graveyard to shuffle back with your Tunneler. And then you link these two to make an Anger Knuckle, you banish the Tunneler and shuffle all of these guys back and draw 2 random cards. And then in the end phase, the Bullet Train will add you back the Harvester. That's it for the combo segment, and now let's show you some Here I'm going to show you some interesting rulings about this deck and also some interesting interactions. The first interaction is with Anchor Drill and Harvester. So if you have both of these on the field, it might seem tempting to go for Zeus right here. Maybe you want to activate Anchor Drill to make them both 6, and then you want to activate Harvester to make them both 12, but that actually does not work because both of these look at the original levels. So if you activate this, make them both 6, and then you activate Harvester, both of them are still going to be level 6. Next, Machina Fortress. The effect to summon itself does not activate, so you can use it under Dweller. Then there's also the interaction I showed you earlier with Anger Knuckle and Bullet Train. This also works with Urgent Schedule. For example, if you draw this going first, you can just set it, and then during their turn, when they summon a monster, you can tribute this, target your Bullet Train, and then chain the Urgent Schedule because you control no monsters right now. And you can also do the same with Impermanence. You can just keep it in the hand and then activate it right now. Then also a very nice interaction. If you know you're not going to have enough cards to shuffle back with Tunneller at the end of the turn, and you have Derricrane in the hand, you can keep the Derricrane in the hand until the end of your combo, and you're also going to have a box, of course. So then you can banish the Tunneller and target all of these 5, and then you can activate Anger Knuckle, send the box, special summon this back, and then Tunneller actually still works because it says shuffle them into the deck. It doesn't say shuffle all 5 into the deck, so it only shuffles these 4 back into the extra deck, and you still get to draw 2 cards. Then you can activate Derricrane, special summon it, and then you can make a Dora. This also works with DD Crow. If they DD Crow one of your targets for Tunneller, you're still going to shuffle the remaining 4 back into the deck and draw 2 cards. Another very important interaction you need to know is if you have Machina Overdrive plus a monster that can be destroyed. For example, if you have Dora that made itself unaffected this turn, or if you have any other XE monster with Goliath under it, it also can be destroyed by card effects. So then you can activate Machina Overdrive on one of these 2, and you're actually still going to get the special summon from the deck, and these guys are just not going to get destroyed. So this basically just special summons a monster from their deck for free. The reason why this works that way is because this is an end if you do effect. So with end if you do effects, A is required for B, but not vice versa. So the special summon is required to destroy a monster you control, but the monster you control does not need to get successfully destroyed for you to special summon from the deck. The targeted monster just needs to still be on the field on this card's resolution for you to be able to special summon from the deck. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video just as much as I did making it. All subscribers, likes and comments are much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.